Hi, welcome to Petal Talk, where skincare meets soul care.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Petal Talk podcast. This has been a passion project for all of us for kind of a while now. I feel like we've been talking about this for
a while, and I thought you were absolutely bonkers.
I know.
For introducing. I'm like, dude, we're literally doing 500 other things. Like, why do we need a podcast?
I know. But I think it will be a really good opportunity for not only other service providers, but also people in the area. I love hearing about founders in general, and I know you do too.
I do. It's very intriguing.
And I think business is not linear, and I think being able to share different perspectives and what works and what doesn't work
I feel like,
important.
Too, in this industry, I'm so new to it, but I feel like everyone keeps their secret sauce so secret.
Right.
And it's like, but
and
wait,
there's room for everyone.
We're all struggling.
Right. With the same stuff. Right.
Like, can we just be truthful and be like, well, this is where I was here, and then I learned X, Y, and Z. And it's like, it's not a competitive world because there are so many women out there that need to be serviced by the things that we service. And it's like, there's just so many fish in the sea, you know? So like, why not just share what we're going through? And I feel like that is going to be a good angle too, you know?
And we have an excellent team.
Yes.
My name is Allison Crowder, and we have joining us today the Jenna McNutt, the owner of the Rose Luxury Spas. She's the best. She is my boss. And we are so excited to get into all the hot goss today. Yeah. And I really wanted to spend this first episode. It just felt right to have the first episode about you because none of us would be here really at all, actually, even if it weren't for you, because you were going to the business before it was obviously yours. But
yes,
it's not like Ryan found it, right? Like you did it.
A unique thing.
Right.
I don't think that
and people don't know about that.
Happens.
Right. And who would have thought you'd be a patron of a business and then you would then own said business. So before we get into all of that, just an overview, obviously, because this is the first episode, you know, this is going to bring a lot of conversation about skincare related things. Obviously we own, not me, I'm sorry. They own a spa. You own a spa. I feel like I own it, but I obviously don't.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Hint, hint. But providers will have a great opportunity to listen. If you're not a provider, it doesn't matter. You're still going to take away a lot. If you love just even girl talk, if you love, ingredients, if you like skincare just on your own, maybe you're someone who has always wanted to go to beauty school and you are just curious like what that really looks like. I think everyone has a really unique perspective. You know, we're going to have a lot of the girls who also work for you and for us on who all come from different places and like have had really interesting careers. I think all of us have had a really interesting career thus far.
Yeah, I feel like everyone that's currently on the team now has either started in the industry to begin with, maybe on their own, and realized, okay, maybe that's not the best fit for me. People who didn't even know until they were like in their late 20s that this is what they wanted to do, and they did completely other things. And other people who worked for big corporations and wanted to thrive and succeed in a small business. And so I think we do have like a wide dynamic. And, we've been around for only 2.5 years.
Which is so crazy.
So wild.
Is that when it was built?
I always
get confused.
The previous business owner launched it like literally she opened the doors like I think 2 or 3 weeks before COVID happened.
That's so crazy.
So then the first year, I feel like that doesn't matter because it's a very like touchy service. And so like the world shut down and just like didn't do that, you know? So.
Oh yeah, especially for skin. I mean, it was the masks and the
headgear.
It
was a struggle in the beginning, obviously, because who crazily opens a business right before the pandemic? But she had no idea.
Obviously,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So wild.
But before we, get into all of what we have, bringing Jenna on for the first episode, I think it's important to understand what the Rose is, who the Rose is, what our goals are, Jenna's story in general. Yeah. You guys are going to hear shortly, Jenna has a really exciting and, I don't want to say complicated, but like just an exciting journey to how you even got here, and you've overcome a lot, and it's cool to learn about. And obviously, like, I know a lot of these stories, but I think it's empowering, especially for women in business. That doesn't come up a ton of like the hard parts. It does look really glamorous. And so I'm excited to get into all of that.
Scrub the toilets.
Right. It's really glam over here. Okay. But so the first thing, and we'll just kind of go through this, and then I do want to get to you and your life and your journey, but what is the Rose?
Okay. So the Rose, in short term, we are a facial, primarily like a skin service provided company. We do offer massage as kind of like a nice attribute. And then we most recently stepped into the realm of doing like lashes and brows. The vision for the Rose really came and stemmed from my marketing company. And it's been very successful in the sense of it's a one-stop shop. So when we, stepped into the realm of the Rose, I really wanted it to be a space where women and men can come, but they can get more than just one service. And we can really be like the hub. So with that, we kind of grew, obviously, and we'll get into the story and the history of that. But in short, we really are a specialized skincare. I would like to call us like a boutique spa.
Right.
Because we're not corporate.
Right.
We're not super small. And we are kind of an exclusive, right? We're not the perfect place for everyone, but we want to be the perfect place for most. And Absolutely. So I feel like boutique is a good
I think so too.
description for that.
And I think our guests really feel that. What I love so much from someone who's come from a really corporate world to now more of a smaller like family type business, being able to do things, and we've talked about this, sending flowers, having like little treats for people for their birthdays.
Like the lady yesterday literally brought us Girl Scout cookies.
Right. And it's and being able to have that relationship with guests it's so much more than a service. That's actually like the smallest part of why they're coming. Really? They love us. They love the providers. They love the experience. They love how it feels, how it smells. But they love being told, you look so good. Like it's so much more.
We're like a hype team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think having it being so small, right? And it's just me and my husband. And it's like there's not like a huge chain of command to be like, hey, we should implement this to make it better. And it's like, okay, sure, let's do it. Yeah. Like just if it's gonna benefit the business, like just do it, And so I think that is like shown a lot of our growth too, like the small things that I think other businesses and structures in our industry really are just like kind of cold to. Yeah. And they really, obviously we all want to make money, but I feel like that is the primary focus of their structure and like what I've experienced. And when I've kind of hopped around and been to other spas, you just don't get that hospitality. No. You just like really don't. And
you're in and out.
You're asking these people to spend a lot of money when they come in. And it's like, be nice and welcome them and make them feel special. Remember things.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but Jenna previously would receive services and then obviously the business came to be. But I want to kind of go back to before all of that, like when you were younger, like did you ever want to be an entrepreneur?
No.
Is that something that you cared about at all?
Absolutely not. Yeah. So like there a lot of people who like maybe are entrepreneurs, they get it from someone or get it from somewhere, like right?
Their parent or something.
Right. I middle class, just average, I was split between two homes. My parents were divorced. And so my mom did like a home daycare for 15 years of my life. So that was kind of like her own little business. I literally changed my first diaper when I was like 6 years old. So I'm so excited to be a mom.
Pro, literally.
So my mom kind of did that, but it wasn't like, it didn't register to me at the time of like, oh, she owns her own business type of thing, because she never left the house. So it was kind of weird. Right. My stepmom always worked for big corporations. And my dad always was like in construction and worked for also other companies. My stepdad was a salesman at furniture stores my whole life of knowing him. And then for a short period of time, both my stepdad and my dad did own their own business. Oh. My dad, unfortunately, 2008 was a big construction recession and crashed like that industry as a whole. So he was without a job. And so all he knew was what to do with his hands. Mm-hmm. So he did, get like a trailer and like did his own thing in the sense of like odds and ends jobs and stuff like that. And then my stepdad did open up his own bedding company. Oh. So he sold mattresses.
Cool.
But that's all he knew how to do, right? Sure. So he kind of stayed in that realm. And they both failed. And then pretty quickly, like over the course of a couple of years. So like, and I was like,
that's hard.
Aware, but like I was still in that like middle school era. So it didn't really like,
like a
register to me, and then I was never invited into it, right? It was like a man's world, to be honest. It wasn't like, hey, come to work with me. Let me show you how I work a POS system, or let me show you how I like balance this or order this. And so I saw it, but I almost want to say I didn't have a front row seat to it. I was like in the back, like distracted, you know?
Yeah, you're a kid.
Right. And so I didn't get any urge at all or any interest in like owning my own business, like at all. I was like solely fine, 9-to-5 girl, just like find job. A cool husband, have that white picket fence, like just work for a secure company, have the 401k, benefits, have the health insurance, like just do that. So I really just had like normal jobs. I worked for a pizzeria. I worked for Dunkin' Donuts, which was like my favorite.
That's my dream
job ever. I worked at drive-thru. It was like so fun.
That's my dream job.
I had like all the ice cream ever in donuts, and it was like so cool. I was in high school and I had that job. And then like I had to decide like what I wanted to do.
How old were you?
I'm 32. I turned 33
at that time.
Oh,
like
I was in my 20s. Okay. I had just graduated high school. Okay. I was living at home still, working at Dunkin' Donuts. And I was like, okay, like let's try to give this like college thing a try. You know, I couldn't get into like a university because my grades were just average. So I went to like I enrolled myself in like the local college. To be honest, I was really excited about financial aid because I knew I could get it. Yeah. And I did the math. And I knew I would have like a little bit extra, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I was like a club girl, like me and my best friend
I'm getting
Nina,
paid to go to school.
Like we just went out and had fun. And so I was like, yeah, I'll get paid to go to school. Right. And I'm like, I'll just get my, you know, at that time, it was still very important for jobs, like careers, to have a college degree. Right. So at least your associates, right? So I'm like, I could do that.
Right.
How hard could it be? I could really do 2 years. Right. Well, this girl here failed college algebra 3 times. And when you're having to pay for the classes, finally by the 3rd round, I was like, this is just not for me.
It's just not fair. 3 times.
I'm paying you to fail school. Right. I'm like, this is just not okay.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? It's not for me. No. Cool. Totally fine. I got a job at Harley Davidson.
Hell yeah, brother.
First, I was like a temp. Right. I had like worn the bright orange shirt that everyone knew I like wasn't a part of the team, but I was
always
like
in motor clothes.
Yeah, I was always in motor clothes.
Yeah.
So I worked for because Daytona Beach, they massively hire. Right. So I was a temp for Bike Week and Biketoberfest, so like that year. And then to be honest, I like collected unemployment from like an in between stage, like whatever. Did the things I had to do. Still living at home, by the way.
Yeah.
And then my best friend Nina actually worked there.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
So that's how I got my in.
Okay.
And so she vouched for me, and like they obviously like loved having me around, my personality, whatever. So then finally, like after one Bike Week, I got hired. And that was like my job. Still living at home. I did that for like 4 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On the last year, I was just kind of like, I'm like really just like over burnt out. Yeah. Like it was a great atmosphere to work for because it was high pace. Like I like to go, like move, like stick me behind a desk, and I just like don't vibe that well 24/7. So I was like, well, what else can I do? Like at that point, I don't have any skill sets. Right. Like I have a good personality. So I'm like, okay, obviously I need to like get into a job that like has people.
Yeah.
So at that time, my brother and my stepmom worked for the same company, and it was a skincare manufacturing company, like that was like down the street from our house. And they're like, hey, we're hiring front desk, reception, executive assistant to the owner situation. Like, well, that seems like right up my alley. Like, I don't have any interest in like skincare or like making it. Their company made like Sun Balm, CeraVe, like all of these like cool things. Like obviously I found that out as I got there and like really learned. And that's where I was at for about 2.5 years. I saw a lot of business structure there. But again, it still didn't register in me that I could take anything that I learned and like do more with it.
Your own thing.
Oh no, that like wasn't even a thought. I was like, my brother works here, my mom works here. Like this is like a family affair. Like we'll just rock this. I got paid like, I think at the time, like $13 an hour. And I was like, I'm doing it. Like I got a new car. Like my grandma signed for me, you know? So like it was a really cool moment in my life. And I was fine with it. I had no intentions of leaving and it was kosher. And then I met my husband.
Is that when you met Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, when you were working there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and then you met this wild man. This wild older man.
Covered in tattoos. I was just out one night with my girlfriend at like a bar restaurant. It was a classy place. Still not a place you would think you'd pick up a husband, but a classy place in a tree. And he came to my table, wanted to have dinner with us, and I thought it was like the weirdest thing like ever.
Stranger danger.
Yeah. And long story short for that, because that's like a whole nother realm.
And he would just love that.
Not be enough for this podcast. We ended up going on our first date 2 weeks later. And at that time, I was like, okay, this is cool. You know, I did know before going on that date, he did have 2 kids. So then I naturally was just kind of like, okay, this is just like a thing. Like, let's just go. Free food, free drinks.
A girl's got to eat.
Yeah, right. Duh. Still living at home at this time.
And how old are you at this time?
I am 24.
Okay.
24. Let's just say our first date did last an entire weekend. My parents were like, where are you? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, no, I'm fine. And then that kind of like entered in my new chapter. Because I was so invested in him. He was so like different. 8 years older. Clearly had some baggage. But that was also intriguing to me. And then I felt like such a connection to his kids so early on, which was very frowned upon on like his side and my side. But like I just couldn't help it, you know? So we just meshed. Then I basically like moved in. And then he was like, when are you going to start paying rent? And then I was like, I guess I'll start paying rent now. And then, you know, fast forward, we dated. And he was an entrepreneur at heart. He worked a remote job, but he has had several businesses. And so, again, still at that time, I was like, it didn't register to me that we could create something together because I never witnessed it. I never absorbed it. I never watched any like podcasts about it. I never read any books about entrepreneurship.
Well, then, like there wasn't as much education all over like there is now.
It wasn't like a thing, and especially for women.
There was no like
really wasn't
YouTube for whatever. There was no. It was so different,
and there was no like blueprint for like you should go on social media and start your own business or there was none of that. We were still sharing food pics on Instagram at that time
with like the ugly filters, and the duck lips,
you know, no self-help, get out of corporate world, you know. But he kind of was doing that and had done that and wanted to continue to do that. And he had skill sets that could kind of like step us into this first avenue of like owning our business. And I still remember it like it was a freaking yesterday. I was like, I quit the manufacturing company and I was like, honestly, I was working for a church. And that was like so not my jam, but I did it because it like he knew someone who knew someone, and I needed to pay my bills, and I needed to afford all of these strawberry daiquiris that his daughter wanted me to buy at the pool bar, and I'm like, I have to hold my own, so like I'll work at a church, and we were like in talks of like, oh, it would be cool if we like own a marketing company, and at that time, marketing still wasn't like a cool thing to do, and nobody really knew about it, and like, what is it, and like, is it was like just like Instagram and websites? It was weird. But Ryan, that was one skill that he knew was to build a website because he taught himself. And I think our first website build was for our tattoo artist, which now, you know, you can tell why.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan. And they really loved it. Mm-hmm. And then like you chatter a lot inside of a tattoo shop. You're there for hours. And then they started talking about us to this other person that then knew a guy in Peru. And so technically the guy in Peru who needed a website for his, like, he took people to Machu Picchu. He did like tours. he was literally our first like monthly paying client. And he paid us $100.
Did you do the tattoo one for free or for like
a barter?
Okay, yeah.
And so I was working, and Ryan's like, we got our first job,
right?
Our first monthly client,
$100.
And I was like, oh, cool.
Perfect.
He's like, quit your job.
Right.
I'm like,
you quit your job.
how much money are we making?
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's like, oh, we're making $100 a month, and I'm like, sweetheart,
Right.
this doesn't pay our
Anything.
electricity bill. It pays nothing.
Right.
At the time, he was still working his government contracting job, and it was fully remote. So we could, for a short period of time, just like roll on that. That's when we're like, okay, we need to create a 2-year, 5-year, 7 and 10-year plan.
Sure.
Like, we ride this for this long while we're building this, and then we ride this for this long while we're building that. And it was like so foreign to me, but I just like already trusted my whole life to this man.
Stranger? No.
At that point, we were like only a year in,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
I already wanted his babies. I wanted to be
Right.
proposed to. I was like literally asking every day, like, when are you going
Right.
to put a ring on my finger?
Like, it doesn't
you know,
matter.
this is wild.
Right. You're like ride or die.
So he's like, quit your job. And I was like, okay.
Anything you want.
If you're telling me
Right.
that it's okay for us to do it, I trust you.
Right.
Bye.
No, you don't have to ask
Like,
me twice.
I literally walked
Right.
out that day.
Right. That's wild.
And so
That's
then
wild. That really is crazy.
my parents,
I'm sure.
they're like, your room is still here.
Right.
Like, this is not going to work. And I'm like, yeah, it may not. But like, if I'm just
I have to figure it
throw
out.
it all away and just like risk the biscuit, you know,
Right. This is the time to do it.
I have no attachments.
Right. You're so young.
I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. At that point, I'm like 26,
Right.
you know,
You have nothing to lose.
0.
Right.
My bank account had like $5 in it
Right.
probably.
So it's like, this is the
I don't
time.
even know.
Right.
So then a beautiful thing that happened for us, and we got very lucky, and it had to do with us as people and then also our work, is the first 2 years of that company, we didn't have to do any advertising because it was all word of mouth.
Yeah,
like
that is crazy.
Literally our business boomed overnight because we did such a great job and we were so unique, and it was, we got in at the right time,
Right.
and we were very real.
Like cutting edge as well.
And it's a very digital transaction in that business. So we were able to build a lot of trust, whereas a lot of people who came to us had been burned
Sure.
in the past. So that was really beautiful. And because of the success of that company, we came to a crossroads if this is 2024, we came in crossroads in a 2022 where we were like, okay, we need to invest. We have some, funds we need to invest. What can we take based off of what we've learned through this business, and what can we put it into to make more money?
Another business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the hunch where that grew from was, like you had mentioned before, there was a local spa. I was not a skincare girly at the time. I think I had
Tell them what you did. Tell them what your skincare routine was like. Tell them. They want to know. All the providers are going to die.
Neutrogena face wipes.
Yeah, the scratchy ones that create micro cuts in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones.
Nah, that was...
And that's it. Right.
That's it. That's all I did.
That's bad.
For like 4 years.
Right.
That was it. And so like I looked at it as a facial.
That's bad. That's so bad.
I looked at facials as like, okay, if you have like a monumental moment or like an event,
wedding,
or
yeah.
that's what it was.
Right.
It was my
treat, extra special treat.
It was my wedding.
No way.
That I got a facial. So the establishment, let me back up. The establishment that we purchased did lashes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a lash girl. So I went
Big
there
lash
all
girl.
the time
Right.
to get my lashes done. And I never stepped foot in that facial room that they had.
Because you had no business in there.
I had no business
Right.
in there. I thought I was doing great.
Right.
Like nobody ever said
You're
anything
like,
about my skin.
yeah, no.
But like
I'm sure your skin was fine.
I thought I was doing great, you know?
Right. At least you did
on the
something.
surface. And
Right.
so I just went straight to the lash room
Right.
for like 2 years.
Right.
And
How
then
did you find them initially?
I sold a fitness plan to the lady who owned it a year previously. I
okay.
sold her a
Okay,
fitness
okay,
plan. She
okay.
found me on Instagram. We had like
Yeah.
one mutual friend or something,
Yeah.
and I sold her a fitness plan. Then I saw she did lashes. So then she saw that we did marketing. So then she wanted a website, and I was like, well, I want lashes.
I'll trade.
So trade.
Right.
So we did a barter that lasted quite some time. And so
It had to have been a long time.
Yeah.
Was it like a year?
yeah, so then we bartered in the beginning, and then she actually hired us as a marketing company.
Did you still get free lashes?
No, I started paying for them because she actually had me get them done by someone else at that point.
Okay, yeah.
And then there was like a brief moment where like we created like an investment portion of our business where we wanted to, because let's face it, when you create a small business, like the one most important thing to continuously do is marketing, right? Mm-hmm. And these business owners can have all the money in the world, but if they don't know how to properly market their business or have the time to properly market their business, the money doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, so that's where we saw an in. We're like, okay, some small businesses just need that marketing aspect of their company. But instead of hiring this person for this and this person for this, how about we come into
do it all.
Business together? You give me a percentage of your business in exchange for a small portion of equity. And so it was a very new thing. And we grew a very good relationship with her. And so we were like, let's try it out. You could be the guinea pig. Like, let's see if it works. And she was down for it. But we came to the realization very early on that you have to have the same vision. You have to be ready to press the same gas, be the same consistency. And it just wasn't there on the other end. No shame to her, no disrespect to her. She just wasn't ready for it.
She had a lot going on.
She was babies, married, a lot going on. She was a service provider.
Right.
So at that time, we were like, okay, hey, like no foul, no shame. This isn't working out.
We tried,
so we pulled out.
No big deal.
We canceled, mutually, done.
Right.
And then it was like a couple months.
And you still have the marketing company.
Yep. And I'm still going to get my lashes done. Yeah. Because they were the best.
Yeah.
Kept going. Every time I'd come home, I would tell Ryan, there's something about this place. I feel like if I could just, we were so close to being able to just like give our ideas and like really help it go to the next level. Right. And I just felt something. And I didn't really know at the time like what I wanted to do with those feelings, but they just never really went away. And then one day, it was so weird. We were like having that investment conversation between the two of us, and we need to find a place to put it because we don't believe in like just letting it sit in the bank because that's bad. Take your money out of the bank.
Do it now.
Right now. So we were having that conversation. 2 weeks later, I can't make this up. 2 weeks later, she calls me. Hey, I'm about to pop with my second kid. Right. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to sell this to anyone. I know the love you have for the rose. Like, do you guys want to buy it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, me?
Like, I don't know.
I don't know anything about this industry.
Right. But Are you still a Neutrogena wipe girl at this time?
Fuck no. No. This is proof. Absolutely not. I have a routine now. Right. So long story short, in that retrospect, we bought it.
Right.
She sold it to us.
How long did it take you to like do it?
To buy it?
Yeah.
A couple days.
Yeah.
Was
Ryan excited?
When the McNutts.
Oh, I know. I know.
When we say we're going to do
Specifically
something.
one half of the McNutt family.
We were like, we really truly believe, and I don't know, it's making me a blank right now, but like, just go for it and figure it out later.
Yeah.
Like just fucking both feet in and figure it out later. Or you're going to like check yourself out, you know?
Yeah.
You got to do it.
You have to just commit.
And we didn't know anything about the industry, but she had a great team already there. And so we were like, okay, well, we'll just lean on that and then bring what we do know and what mainly the business was missing to begin with, right? Is the things that we could bring to the table. So I'm like, it can't be that hard.
Right.
You know, we'll figure it out. And at the time, the concept was the business housed facial services.
Like independent contractors.
And then the rest were renters. It's a 6-room establishment. So the rest were renters, and they were all locked in a lease for the next year. And I'm like, well, that's perfect because then it gives me time to really be able to focus on what is the new business model going to be while still making my rent because their rent covered my rent, you know? So it wasn't the best mesh to me because we had a hair salon, we had a massage therapist, we had a lash artist, we had facials. And it was a mixture of like quiet and loud services.
I was just going to ask if it was loud.
Whew, man, you got the hair blow dryer going, and then right
long.
across the way you've got
Massage.
a soothing massage.
Did that ever?
Oh yeah, every day there was like complaints or issues, or
that's hard.
I'm like, just hold on.
Right.
Just 1 year.
Right.
Hold on.
Right.
So then fast forward a year, and then we like really structured what we wanted our business model to be. Was it a risk? Heck yeah. Because I was eliminating leases and losing that residual income.
And that like comfortability of it will be fine.
Oh,
right.
So that's where like Ryan really comes in, and he's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to figure it out. And again, from an early age at 24, he swooped me in, and I just like trusted this person.
Right.
So, and still to this day, like if he says it's okay, I don't even question it.
He loves that we're talking about him.
I
so
know.
much.
It is what it is. He's the glue.
He is the glue.
I'm the motion, and he's the glue.
Right.
So we sucked it up, and we just continued to grow.
Yeah.
And one facial room turned into two, turned into now a massage room, but not by a renter, by us. And then fast forward now, we have 2 facial rooms with 3 providers. We have a massage therapist, and we also have lashes and brows. So I feel like that is a nice way to kind of like put it. Now, do I still know anything about skin? I learned a lot. I learned a lot about like the layman's terms, the basics. I have still no desire to become a service provider because again, the business needs a business person.
Right.
I have a great team. We went through a lot of trials and tribulations to build the team that we have today.
Absolutely.
Do I look back and wish I could have made better decisions? Of course. I think everyone does in a scenario like that. But they've also made and molded not only me, but the business itself as a whole. So I'm really grateful for having to go through that. And we're still a baby.
And
so
we
like,
forget that.
I forget that.
I do too.
Like we're 2.5 years in.
Yeah.
Like businesses aren't even profitable until like year 5.
Oh, at least.
So I have to constantly remind myself and give myself grace of like, this is okay. Like, and we're still building, and who knows where we're going to be just by the end of this year, you know, which I'm very excited for. So, you know, did people think we're absolutely crazy buying a business in an industry that we didn't know anything about? Like, I'm sure the bees were buzzing behind closed doors. I'm sure people were like, they are going to fail. And I'm sure there was a lot of people that wanted us to fail.
Right.
We are very liked, but then we're also like not liked. And it's just because we're so different, and, you know, we look different, we act different, we have different values. Like we go against the grain,
right?
Like 100%. We don't do anything normal. We don't do anything normal pace.
Right.
We're just like, okay, just like build it out and people will come.
But I think that's something that's really cool because obviously, you know, before I started working for you guys, I didn't, you know, obviously when we met a couple times before, you know, you and Ryan would both say that. Oh,
I literally interviewed you 3 times just to make sure.
And we talked for a long time each time. Like a long time. It was
so cool though, because I'm like, where did this girl hail from? Like, where did you come from? Are you an alien?
No,
like, because you're absolutely perfect.
Right. But it's so, what I take comfort in, you know, kind of in my position is, well, you guys have never failed. I mean, obviously, like there are things that maybe have looked like a fail, but overall, it's always been a win. And so I do find myself, even when Ryan does have crazy ideas, or you have crazy ideas, or I have crazy ideas, maybe even this podcast, I don't know. Yeah. But being able to be like, well, if they can get behind it, it probably is a good thing because they have a different like sniffer, right? Like they can smell what is and what isn't going to do well.
Our egos are a little big.
That's okay.
In a healthy way, though, because like we just
will
not fail.
Yeah.
We will come close.
Right.
Like there are things that, you know, nobody will know how close we really get sometimes. Sure. But then we're McNutts.
Right.
Like we're just going to keep going and rebuilding it and understanding. And that's where like I've learned to circle back to your entrepreneur. I never took a course. I never took a class. I literally, I lie. Ty Lopez.
I don't know who that is.
That's in like the marketing realm. That's who like taught me some business things in the marketing realm. But like, and his ego is about to literally blow up.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But like my husband taught me everything I know about business.
Yes.
And like,
I know Ryan, we have to give it to him. He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
But he knows what he's doing.
No, he does.
Because he's failed so many times.
Right.
But not failed in the point where like most people would crumble and say, screw this. Right. And there's been moments where I'm like, this is really weird to say, but like I dream about just like being a lawnmower.
What? That is so not what I thought you were going to say. A lawnmower?
Yeah. You want to know why?
I do.
Because you wake up and you do the same thing every day. And you know what's to come.
Yeah.
And you know
fair.
You're going to mow grass.
And you're
and you know
alone.
Grass is never going to go out of style. And it's never going to be depleted. And you had job
Someone
security.
Give you attitude. Right. Okay, fair. Do you have a lawnmower?
No.
We do. You can borrow it. You get a wild hair up your ass.
But I think that for like a split second. But then I'm like, I wouldn't trade this life for the world.
I think you would be so bored. Obviously,
oh my God. I would be scratching at the wall.
If I met that version of you,
would
like
be so lame.
I can't even imagine you like going into work, typing on a computer, and then going home. You would be miserable.
So well. But that's what I was like okay doing. And so wild.
Which is so interesting.
I know. So he literally saw me, what I was capable of, because I didn't believe in myself. Like I really wasn't like, I didn't extrude
It's hard for women to do that.
My parents weren't like anything special in the sense of like achievements, you know?
Right.
Whereas like Ryan's family, like his dad was an entrepreneur. So he got a lot of his work ethic and his, you know, structure from that. And then I just absorbed everything from him. And I'm like, if I'm quitting my job and I'm putting all my eggs in literally one basket, the total opposite of what they teach you in life.
Right. Well, I was just going to say, especially for women, right? Mm-hmm. We're taught our whole lives.
Yeah.
Grow up, get married,
find
have
a
babies,
man.
Find a man. He'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything. Like that's why so many, in quotes, like women's jobs are like teachers, nurses, like caretakers, like those types of things.
Givers.
Because we're never taught, to own your own business
hustle.
Versus, like hustle, grind, whatever. And so then when you do see someone like that, a mom, an aunt, a whoever, you're like, that's crazy. That's so like deeply against what you've been taught. It's like, that's crazy, you know? So
yeah,
putting all of your eggs also into the basket of a man who also you like weren't married to at the time.
Correct.
That's crazy. That's like, she's losing her mind. Like,
that was a big thing. That was a big thing because they're like, you guys are just
this guy?
Boyfriend and girlfriend, but yet you're putting your money together. That's another thing, right? Like, even like yesterday, for example, some guy was like talking to us at the comic store because my husband's a nerd, and he was like, "Yeah, if I were to give anyone advice, is to keep your money separate."
Yeah,
and I'm like, mind you, we make the same money because we own all of our businesses together. But I feel like even if we didn't, like that's another thing that is like really great for our marriage and really great for like the structure of what we do as a job and as a living is we all eat out of the same pot.
Right.
Like, and that's not something they tell you separate.
Totally.
And they also say don't work with your husband. Don't own a business together because you guys will literally murder each other.
Right.
And has it been hard? Oh my God. I could tell you stories for days that you'd be like, what? You guys both survived that?
That needs to be its own episode.
Yeah, it really does. But I like literally could not envision myself doing it with anyone else. Like at all.
Right.
Like at all.
Well, and I think, from my perspective, it's cool to see, truly like, I don't want to say like total opposites, but like opposites in a lot of ways and how that really works well and how we always like joke and say, you're the doer and he's like the visionary. Mm-hmm. There is a lot that comes with that. Yes. And there is, sometimes when you need to rein him in and sometimes where he needs to like lift you up and like it works well though. And I think that that's something that, not everyone has. And what is nice is that you guys are married. So the fighting or the like disagreements,
we get over it.
What are you going to do? Yeah, you're married.
You're gonna divorce me?
Right. Yeah. Good luck.
No, you're not.
Because I'm going to take the business. It's like, good luck. Right.
I will find you.
Right. But I feel like, that's something that I had on my list and I kind of wanted to touch base on. But I do want to have probably a separate episode, like because talking about that. But it's hard. And it's also like, I'm sitting in the room and they're like beefing about something or they're like disagreeing. And I'm like, okay,
but then you have no idea that like we go home.
Right. And it's like, no big deal.
That's something we had to learn too. Right. And so, the balance, because we do everything together at work and then we're at home. Like, when are we boss?
Right.
And when are we like lovey-dovey?
Right.
And we had to like
learn
find that ground.
I'm sure.
But I do feel like that is why the rose has been so successful so quickly in the mix of like so many things going up and down, it's because behind closed doors, it's two business people together believing in something and refusing to fail. Right. Where I feel like in the aesthetic industry, it's a lot of the wife or the woman in the family is first and foremost the service provider.
Like the lead, and it's all on her.
And she is the business owner. Right. And I don't know how they do it.
It's hard.
And I don't know if they burn themselves out and it fails, or if they burn themselves out and then they finally understand like, hey, I can't be a service provider anymore because my business needs me. Right. And so I'm very grateful, thankful, and blessed that this is just the beginning. With the Rose, you know, and at first it was just the two of us, right? Mm-hmm. And then us and then service providers. And then you fell from the sky. Literally. Like literally wandered over here.
Literally. I fell into your email inbox.
At 10 p.m. at night. And I was like, why does she want to be a service provider? Because she needs to be something way more than that. I need her. Right. And so then now it's just really cool because then we can just move faster now, you know? And like, then we can see someone wide-eyed and be like, wow, that's a crazy freaking idea, but let's rock it. You know, like let's do it. And so I think everything happens for a reason. You know, my previous person in the position that you know, took in the beginning, like taking naps in the front, you know? So it's like we know how to elevate and we know when it's time to elevate. Like we'll work with something, right? And I think that's what I love. Like, we're just getting started. Like the services that we're offering now are not the same services we're going to be offering 2 months from now, 3 months from now, like a year from now. It's going to be like, I envision it being just like this big.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay, so what is the new 2-year, 5-year plan?
Oh gosh. Let's do it with like a first 1 year.
Yeah, like at the end of what is this, 2024?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself and then also the business?
Okay, let's start with the business. I really see us really diving more in, and this is where like you've shed some light for me too, is like we have a good charisma going.
Yeah, our team is excellent. I can't sing their praises enough.
So like now let's step into the community. Like let's show our faces. When people think about the Rose, I want them to not think about it as just a place that they can go to get a facial or a massage or whatever. I want them to think like, oh, those are my girls. Like, oh my God, they're throwing a pop-up this weekend with like champagne and like little jewelry and whatever. Like even if it has nothing to do with services or it has everything to do with our services, like yoga in the yard, you know,
totally.
Things like that. Like I see ourselves this year, like really stepping forward in our community, in our surrounding area, and just like being really known as like the really nice girls who like really love you beyond what you pay them for. Like we're invested in you and your life and the milestones that you're going on, you know? And so that's one thing. Another thing is expanding the services for sure. You know, and that's another thing about our mindset is we're not scared to lose if we've learned something from it. You know, we'll bring in a skincare line and think it's a good idea and then learn very quickly or even slowly, okay, maybe this wasn't the best decision. Okay, write it off. You know, let's move on. What's the next one? Okay, what's the next one? Okay, this is kind of working, but what do the numbers show? Oh, well, we could do better. Like, let's go ahead and tweak that. Where I think a lot of people maybe just go into it. This is what it is. Okay, this is how I'm going to write it. I'm going to just deal with it. Or they're scared of change. Or, well, we just fix
like
this.
Financially.
Yeah. Or we fix this. Or I'm scared to raise my prices. Like literally.
Yeah, tell them.
Did $60 facials.
When we started.
$60 facials.
That's crazy.
Wild.
I know.
Where I'm like, we're so much better than that. Like
and the providers deserve more, and everyone
deserves more. And the time is valuable. Time is money, you know. And I
guarantee you, also those original $60 services, the quality is also probably night and day different.
Well, yeah, because the service provider is powered by money. Like, let's face it, results in money and connection. And so, because it's a very, you know, touchy service. And I do think that by raising the prices reasonably throughout the past couple of years, nobody has literally ever said anything excuse me, ma'am, what happened to your $60 facial?
Right.
Because they value what we bring to the table, and those are the people we want to service.
Absolutely.
Not the nickel and dimers. So that's where I kind of see the business, where I see myself with a baby.
Huge.
Large.
Like about to give birth. kind of.
No, we are
in like at the end of the year it will be.
So
You'll be,
I am about halfway through IVF.
Yeah, are we talking about this right now? Yeah, we can talk about it.
Well, you asked me where I want to be.
I know. Okay.
What are your other questions?
No, we can talk about this. I want to talk
You
about
ready?
this. Yeah.
Are you going to cry?
Probably. I'm getting emotional right now.
So I am doing IVF. I'm about halfway through. So we're at the stage where in 2 weeks we will have the procedure where we actually choose our embryo and implantation. And so then it actually happens really quickly. And like, I was like so clueless. I think the whole
thing has happened way faster
so fast.
than I thought.
So clueless, learned a lot. Long story short, because this will be another podcast, because I learned so much and I have so much information that like I was not privy to in the beginning. Right. And I had to find it like on my own, where I feel like I could really help a lot of people who are like doing this. Right. But long story short, we hope to have a successful transfer by the end of this month. And so I could be like a mommy like next month, which is wild. Which then would be birth in March. And so that's why I'm very grateful. I felt very comfortable starting this journey, because we were very strategic as of like when we wanted to start it. Very comfortable. That was my one thing. I'm very hands-on business owner. Like I'm in it every day. And so my worry was, well, what happens when I get pregnant? Like who can I lean on? Because like at the moment before we started, like I didn't really have anyone that we could like lean on at the spa, because I was it. Right. I was the end game. So then, having you to lean on and know that like, okay, if I wake up and my feet are like looking like freaking watermelon and I am like puking in the toilet and we are not having a good day, like I can go mentally check out and know that my business is like still going, totally. And so that's where I'm going to be at. I'm going to ride this train, I'm going to take full advantage. Oh, as you should. Because most moms, they have to work and I'm still going to work, because let's face it, me at home alone is just, I'm not going to paint. I'm not going to knit. Right. I'm not going to.
You like to read.
I like to read my
so much
sexy books.
Yeah. You're smart.
So that's where I see myself. I'm being a mom, but like doing it all. Like I don't like the stereotype of like, oh, stay at home mom, like just do that. Like, first of all, Ryan would create chaos.
You couldn't do that. And
I could not do it. No. Like I had to get FOMO.
Yeah.
I get FOMO really now. I literally get FOMO now. What are you guys doing?
Right.
What are you guys doing? What are you guys ordering? What's going on? Right. Like I want to know. Right. Like even designing all of this stuff, which by the way is very beautiful. I literally remember like texting him. I'm like, so you guys got chairs? Cool. Where's the fucking pictures? Like I want to know what they look like. Like you guys just did it.
Sorry.
So then it's like, but then in retrospect, like I asked to like step away. Yeah. And so that is, I'm getting used to.
I'm really sorry we didn't send you a picture.
No,
I didn't even think about that until right now.
I'm like, send me a picture
I'm really sorry. Okay, well, to be fair though, we did set up the wallpaper and you didn't look at it for days.
I know. I was like sitting right outside and I didn't even like.
Realistically.
Yeah. But it looks so good and I'm so happy. Really and it's going to be so much fun and I love it. And if one person just watches it, then that's fine.
Totally. And I think, in talking about like you and your journey and my journey and everyone's journey who, works for us and all of that, there's so much education and knowledge and experience and, provider or not, or interested in beauty or not, boys even. I'm sure we'll get Ryan.
We have a lot
to share.
Yeah. We do. And I think it's going to be a great dynamic of like you said, if you are still like using makeup wipes,
I will pay for you to get a facial here. I'm not kidding.
This could be a good podcast for you to watch.
Right.
But whether you have a 15-step skincare routine or you're an esthetician yourself, like I really do feel like, not to like toot our own horns,
we have the best,
but we are great rounded people who both collectively, just us, not even including everyone else, have been through a lot in life, and like I'm ready to like bear all and tell all the secrets and say, hey, this is what we use for this and this is what we use for that, and like bring back the girl power.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just been a little cattiness in the industry of just like, oh my God, she's copying me. Oh my God, did you see her social? Like it looks just like mine. Like, oh my God, like why does she have like the same services and we're like down the street from each other? You know, just like who fucking cares?
There's plenty
of people in the world
can be successful
to benefit.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I feel like at the end of this year, like from my perspective, I really want us to be talking about an additional location at the end of the year.
I think it's very possible.
I think so
Ryan is like in the background right now. Ryan, by the way, Ryan is our like audio engineer man that like helped us do all this, but
he didn't do that much, but
we are a firm believer, and we've always said that even from like the beginning of the Rose, when we were like, I mean, 2 businesses already with full teams is like a lot to manage. Add a baby in the mix. Plus, I'm a stepmom to a 19 and a 15-year-old who's like driving now.
Right.
Just wild. That's already a lot, right? And so naturally people outside looking in or like, okay, yeah, that's all they're going to do. And it's like, we're just getting started, you know? But the idea is, so like to create like such a perfect concept at the Rose.
I think we're close.
And then duplicate it, because let me tell you before we end this, I scouted. Like I went to like the Baldwin Parks and the Winter Parks and the Orlandos and like those are
Dr.
things around our
Phillips,
areas. Yeah. And I looked up like the best spas like in the areas, and Ryan and I went, and I was unimpressed. And that's not me just being biased, because like I was genuinely wanting to like walk into one and being like,
take their ideas, see their
oh my
inspo.
God, this is like so inspiring. Like I want to do this, and oh my God, we should add that, and oh my God, I love these like lines that they're carrying.
Right. Didn't a lot of them like ignore you?
There was one that I walked in and was in the lobby for 10 minutes and nobody came out.
Yeah, that's wild.
I was not a fan. No. So that just like encouraged me even more.
Right.
And like our vision and just like the team that we have and just like once we get the blueprint like perfect, then yes, I do believe the Rose is not just going to be for Lake Mary. Like I want everyone to experience it. Like, and then we just have to like understand too, like we're serial entrepreneurs. So don't be shocked if like we want to like buy something else and do the same thing.
I'm sure. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. What is there any other?
There is, but I'm not going to say.
Stop. Will you tell me later?
Yeah, when we're done.
Okay. I didn't even think about that. An additional
because through all of the failures, like literally through the thick of it, we've learned a lot, and we're just like, okay, well, the world like needs to see it. The world needs to be about it. Like we want to show it. Like so many times, and like this is like a blessing and a curse. Like so many times we go into business establishments where we're like, oh my God, like they should like totally have this, or like they should totally do that,
or it's like dirty.
Yeah, like I don't pee at the nail salon that I go to. Like they do my nails amazing, but like I don't pee there.
No,
because I'm like, why does your bathroom look like that?
Why is there like used single-use supplies on the floor? And
so gross.
Totally.
It's just so. Anyways, who knows?
Right.
What it really entails, but I do know the Rose is just getting started.
I totally agree, and I can't wait to be on the ride. It's gonna be so good. So fun. Well, thank you for joining me for our
this
first
was a blast.
episode.
We could have just gone forever.
I'm holding quite a bit
back.
Yeah.
I know.
Literally. But I think it'll be nice, to keep updated with you and your journey, obviously. And I do want to have, you back for obviously multiple episodes.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. And I can't wait for this to grow. And this is, our first episode.
Yeah.
And more to come. We'll have our providers on. We'll have, fun episodes.
What if we did like a in person facial technique? Yeah. Like if we brought the hydrofacial machine or something, that would be fun.
Like a tutorial.
Yeah, not a DIY.
Right.
Not a DIY, but maybe
not
just
a DIY, it with us.
Come see us.
Right. Don't do it at home. You're going to stretch out your pores.
Don't do it at home.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much. You're the best.